Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you are all well. It's Friday. We made it. We made it to Friday. And I hope you have an awesome Friday. I hope Friday is half as awesome as you bloody well look today, because if it does, you're going to have an amazing one. But we've got some meat and potatoes to get into this morning as I delve into a question that consistently comes up. And it is with respect of the Idaho 4 case, Bryan Kohberger, and people saying, look, if Bryan Kohberger is the person who did this crime, because there is a possibility that he is, why did he do it in this fashion? Why did he do it like he did? Because I think that's incredibly important to try and understand, because what we're trying to believe is that Bryan Kohberger, in the early hours of the morning, he would get up or stop doing whatever he's doing and decide to get in his own vehicle and drive his own vehicle the 9 or so miles down the road. His phone at some point, we don't know whether he's turned it off, put it in airplane mode, or it's just dropped signal, but he's got his phone on him, we believe, and he's headed off towards Moscow, Idaho. He's then got to Moscow, Idaho. He's driven around this area, an area that he'd apparently been and frequented no less than 12 previous times, which on the grander scheme of things, it's not a massive amount of time. Bearing in mind he'd been there 6 or 7 months perhaps, in the neighbouring community, if you like. And, you know, we live the same distance away from another town over to us that offers more than we have here. And we've certainly been there more than 12 times in the last 6 months. So if somebody ends up deceased over there, don't come to me because I've been there 12 times. I've nothing to do with it. But anyway, let's just say that he was doing reconnaissance. Let's just go with it. Let's roll with it. So he's been gone over. He's gone over there 12 times and done reconnaissance. And in those 12 times, what's he learned? So let's say he's learned what rooms these students are in. He's learned a pattern of behavior of the house, that they frequently have parties. They frequently have lots of people there. Sometimes they have these parties and they're not even there. They're other places, but there's lots of people around. Potentially drunk people, potentially people who are athletic, on steroids as well. So a mixture of people, but some of them very capable, very able-bodied, and in their numbers. So he sees all this, he gets all this, that's his recon. He also learns that they leave doors open, so you can get into the property without the need for a key, and if there's any keypads, the likelihood is that people have these codes as well. But that's by and by. But he's done his reconnaissance, and he's learned a lot about this property. Again, mainly what you learn over that period of time is sometimes there's a lot of people there and the doors are unlocked. So he's learned this, and he goes over to this property. So he knows he's not got to take a crowbar. He knows where he's got to go, but he continues to drive around seemingly like he's lost or confused, perhaps apprehensive. But you wouldn't think he is apprehensive, because he's a maniac. He's got to be a psychopath, hasn't he? He's got to be this psychopath who has been doing reconnaissance in order to build himself up to this crime. So I struggle to think that he's driving around because I don't really believe that. He's also got some form of knowledge in terms of how cameras work and the likelihood of your car getting seen on camera, and how fucking dodgy you look driving around this neighborhood at this time of the morning. And you know that they're going to be looking at cameras when they find everybody in this house deceased. Do you know what I mean? Or one person, whatever. The police are going to be all over the CCTV, ring cameras, light bulb cameras, everything that's in that area are going to get scrubbed. That's the first thing they're going to do. And you've got to be a fucking maniac if you don't think that you, being one of the only vehicles in the area driving around, are not going to get found out pretty damn quick. But anyway, that's by and by. But let's just say, like I say, he's obsessed. So he goes over with the sole intention of attacking this one person. Why do you do it in this fashion? Why do you do it in this fashion? If you have the ability to get over here, you know what you're looking for, why would you not wait for that person to be in the house on their own? Why would you not wait for there to be a better opportunity? Why would you not wait and perhaps try and exact this, what you're planning to do, in a manner that doesn't mean venturing into this house where there could be lots of people? You're putting yourself at risk. You're putting yourself at risk of being seen on camera or getting caught unawares inside this property by people who are potentially outnumbering you, and they are more able-bodied than you, being athletic, being just you're going to get yourself in a muddle if you walk into a house where there's potentially 20 people and you're just standing there like, oh, do you know what I mean? This isn't going to, and I can't understand that. Why would this person who does this not enter into this property that is potentially being in a state of emptiness, potentially, and gone in there and hidden inside that property? We don't know what Bethany and Dylan were doing for the most part of that evening. We don't really know what was going on there or how long that house sat empty. But you can bet your bollocks to a barn dance that there would have been opportunity for somebody to have got inside that property and hid inside that property. That person, if they have been doing reconnaissance on that property, they would have known there were empty rooms in that house. There were rooms that were not occupied. There was no one in them, and they could have gone inside there and hid. It was a large property. It was a large property. If you've got the stones, the balls to walk into this property when there's potentially 20 people and all you're armed with is a K-bar knife, and you've got the balls because you're going to go in there and do what you're going to do, you have got the balls to go in here when that house is quiet and lay low inside that property until the house dies down, everyone's asleep, and then you can start your attack. I can't understand why someone would do it in the manner with which we are being told that Bryan Kohberger did it. That, to me, is the biggest thing that don't make sense, and I think for many of you, it's the bit that don't make sense. Why did he decide to get up at this time, drive his own vehicle over to this place with his phone on him, drive around the area, enter into this house, unknowing who was in there, when there was much, much, much more easier ways to do it? Now, let's just say that this was a bigger thing. It weren't about pinpointing one person. It wasn't because of an infatuation thing. So it rules out being able to get that person on their own, getting one of the people on their own, because that to me is the easiest one. If he was infatuated with someone, I believe there was an easier way of doing this. He could have got them on their own at some point. Could have. If it was just about entering in that property to hurt people inside that property, and it was the property itself that was targeted, he could have gone into that property earlier in the night when everybody was out and about and gone after the two people who were potentially in there then, when the numbers were lower and there weren't anybody in the house. The crime doesn't make sense. The crime, when you put Bryan Kohberger in and the manner with which he's supposedly done it, that doesn't make sense. That's the biggest thing to me that don't make sense. The risk versus reward, the way in which it was done, doesn't go hand in hand with what I would personally expect someone with Bryan Kohberger's knowledge to have done. Not from the start. Fuck the mistakes. I'm just talking about what he would have gained, what a child younger than him, without his expertise, someone who just knows how police work and how cameras work and CCTV in areas, even they would have known that this was not the way to do this crime. What about you? Let me know down below. Seems odd. And I'll catch you all in the next one.